ಇವತ್ತು ಸಂಜೆ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಸಿಬಿಕೆನ್ ಕೆ ಮ್ಯಾಥ್ಯೂ ಅವರು ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸ ನೀಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಮಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದೀಗ ಜಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಕಮಿಷನರ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಹುದ್ದೆಯ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ ಇವರ ಕಡೆಗಿದೆ. ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಪ್ರತಿಭಾವಂತರು ಅಂತ ಅವರು ಹೆಸರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಕೊಯಮತ್ತೂರಿನ ಭಾರತೀಯ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದಿಂದ PhD ಪಡೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ದೆಹಲಿಯ ಜವಾಹರ್ಲಾಲ್ ನೆಹರು ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿಯಿಂದ MPhil ಪದವಿ ಪಡೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ಹಿಂದೆ ಕೇರಳ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದಿಂದ ಸಮಾಜಶಾಸ್ತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ MA ಪದವಿ ಸುವರ್ಣ ಪದಕದೊಂದಿಗೆ ಪಡೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಮೆರಿಕದ ಸಿರಕ್ಯೂಸ್ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಅವರು ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ವಿಷಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಶಿಕ್ಷಣವನ್ನು ಪಡೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅನೇಕ ಮೆಡಲ್ಗಳು, ಪ್ರಶಸ್ತಿಗಳು ಅವರ ಪಾಲಿಗೆ ಬಂದಿವೆ. ವಾಣಿಜ್ಯ ಮತ್ತು ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟ್ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳ ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕ ಹೊಣೆಗಾರಿಕೆ, ಸಾರ್ವಜನಿಕ ಹಣಕಾಸು ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಮೊದಲಾದ ವಿಷಯಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅನೇಕ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸಗಳನ್ನು ಅವರು ನೀಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇತ್ತೀಚೆಗೆ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಪೇ ದಿ ಇಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಸೋಷಿಯಾಲಜಿ ಆಫ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸೇಷನ್ ಎನ್ನುವ ಒಂದು ತುಂಬ ಉತ್ತಮವಾದ ಗ್ರಂಥವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಅವರು ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಕೆಲವೇ ತಿಂಗಳ ಹಿಂದೆ ಅದನ್ನು ನಮ್ಮ ಸನ್ಮಾನ್ಯ ರಾಜ್ಯಪಾಲರು ಲೋಕಾರ್ಪಣೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಪತ್ರಿಕೋದ್ಯಮದಲ್ಲೂ ಅವರು ಆಸಕ್ತರು. ಅನೇಕ ಪತ್ರಿಕೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಲೇಖನಗಳನ್ನು ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅನೇಕ ಪತ್ರಿಕೆಗಳನ್ನು ಸಂಪಾದಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಕೂಡ. ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಸೋಷಿಯಲಾಜಿಕಲ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ಆಜೀವ ಸದಸ್ಯರಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರ ಅಧಿಕಾರಾವಧಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಮಾರು 50 ಕೋಟಿ ರೂಪಾಯಿಗೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಈ ತೆರಿಗೆಯನ್ನು ತಪ್ಪಿಸಿದ್ದ ಹಣವನ್ನು ಪತ್ತೆ ಮಾಡಿದ ದಾಖಲೆ ಅವರದಿದೆ. ಇದೀಗ ಆದಾಯ ತೆರಿಗೆ ಇಲಾಖೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥಾಪನೆಯ ಸುಧಾರಣೆಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ತಜ್ಞ ಸಮಿತಿ, ಲರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್, ಆ ಸಮಿತಿಯ ಸದಸ್ಯರಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ವಿಷಯ ಲೈಫ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ಸ್ವಾರಸ್ಯಕರವಾದ ವಿಷಯ. ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಆಲ್ ದಿ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸೇಷನ್ ಪಾಲಿಸೀಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟೇಷನ್, ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಡಿರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಲಿಂಕ್ಡ್ ಟು ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಲೈಫ್. ಆ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಇವತ್ತು ತಮ್ಮ ಮಂಡನೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಸಿಬಿಕೆನ್ ಕೆ ಮ್ಯಾಥ್ಯೂ ಅವರನ್ನು ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ.
A very good evening to all of you. And at the outset, I should express my apology to you. I am a little late. Starting from the office on a working day little early is very difficult. In fact, morning I told my commissioner I'll be going little early today at 6 o'clock. Normally we sit in the office till 7:30. So I told my commissioner I'll be going little early by 6 o'clock. He said, I am also leaving by 6 o'clock. Then I said, I'm going to Gokhale Institute. He was so happy. He said, there is a wonderful institute where members and associates come regularly for serious lectures and discussions. Very committed, very sincere listeners. I am very happy to be here amidst you. I am really feel honored, privileged for being invited to this august audience. Very experienced people, elders, much more knowledgeable than me. amidst you to share a few thoughts. I am really happy. Taxing world, that is the, can right click, modify last file. Come down. You have to still come down. That last one, just click it. So the topic is, as it was told and it was publicized, it is not life in the tax world. The topic is different. Topic is life in a taxing world. That was the topic I sent, but somehow it was printed in our brochure, life in the tax world. So no taxman will admit tax is taxing. You can just put that open. Just click here. Here. The remote is working? Remote.
Okay, now
So you can do it. Okay. This is the cover picture of my book. Recently I published a book. The name of the book was Making People Pay, The Economic Sociology of Taxation. That was released by Governor in the presence of former Chief Election Commissioner T.S. Krishnamurthy on January 29th in Raj Bhavan. So cover is the same. Next. So there is a small disclaimer. I am here as Sibichen K Mathew, not as an Indian Revenue Service officer. So anything which I tell now, I should not be quoted tomorrow. I know you are all my senior friends, and you will forgive me if I talk little openly. It is only for a healthy discussion we are talking. Next. In case you say that Sibichen Mathew said this, I will say I have not heard, I am not going to Gokhale Institute at all. So then when I went there, they gave me a register to sign. I was little, should I sign or not? Then I thought, of course, I have given, to come here I have to take an approval. By 11:30 immediately I realized I have not taken approval because I used to go for lectures in different places. Today I forgot. So immediately I gave a letter. I am going to Gokhale Institute for kindly permit me. So we are the civil services conduct rules prevents us from doing many things. Even doing some positive things like giving a lecture, a lot of restrictions. So okay, I signed. Next. Oh, that cat. You see the cat picture you see, no? Whenever anybody join government service, he will be like a tiger. I was also a tiger. I joined 18 years back as Assistant Commissioner of Income Tax. I was like a tiger going to ransack things, going to change the world, catch hold of all the corrupt people, rascals, put behind bars. Year after year you find the tiger has become a cat. Only thing is escape yourself. Next. See, life would have been very beautiful had there been no income tax. I would have been so happy. For us also, 30% of our tax, 30% of our salary goes straight over for income tax. We cannot claim anything, any expenses. Now, why we dislike to pay taxes? Just click. So, there is some history behind it. Next. There is something to do with economics. something to do with politics, something to do with sociology. In few minutes we will just find out what are the reasons behind tax. We are tax apathy. Initially we thought, as the society progresses, as we earn more money, more development comes, more knowledge comes, more awareness comes, people tend to pay more taxes. Historically we thought that way. Second. And taxation is ubiquitous, universal, everywhere. Wherever we go, there are taxes. Almost all countries, barring a few. Maybe income tax may not be there, some other tax will be there. Next. And the fiscal history of people is above all an essential part of its general history. Entire history of any country you take, it is fiscal history, it is tax history. Next. And taxes are one of the oldest phenomena in society. No society can survive without taxes. And this is one important thing. Had there been no wars, then no income tax in this world. Take any country. Income tax was implemented for the first time to finance war. India, US, UK, any country you take. Initially, income tax was implemented to sponsor, to finance, to fund for the war. Second, taxation and colonialism. All the colonies, tax was the instrument of exploitation. If you come to India, the roots of the tax antipathy in India, we have this ancient India, medieval India, modern India. If you take ancient India, Aryan, Indo-Aryan period, Vedic period, post-Vedic period, taxation was there, but taxation was discriminatory. For some caste, there was tax. For some caste, there was no tax. Some castes were totally exempt from income, any sort of taxes. So, it was... I have to press this.
Just later. This side.
Oh, just a point out. Okay, right. Okay. Highly technological, Gokhale Institute. When after the so-called Hindu period within quotes, then comes the Muslim era. Muslim era also same thing continued. Certain religions were exempt from tax. For certain religions, something called jizya, example jizya, at the time of Akbar, Aurangzeb, was there. Some religion, no tax. Some religion, excess burden. So taxation was discriminatory. It was biased. It was never objective. Then, next. No, just previous. No. During the time of our so-called Queen, colonial period, same thing happened, all of us know. Import and export policy was totally biased. Everything was favoring British. 2 weeks back, I was in UK for some academic visit. So my cousin took me to see let us see Buckingham Palace and all. I never felt anything, very, very inquisitive to see Buckingham Palace or any of the museum. I had to pay tickets to see the treasures they have taken, looted from India and kept there. So it was all along, if you see Indian tax history, tax was biased. Tax was never egalitarian, never equitable. Next. 2010, this year, we celebrate, I don't know, I should not use, maybe taxman we should say celebrate. 150 years of income tax. Not a single article has come in newspapers. Nobody has thought we should conduct some seminar on this. Nothing. Income tax department never know about this. In fact, I mentioned this in my book. Sir James B. Wilson, he only introduced income tax in India. See the second line. He quoted Manusmriti to give legitimacy to income tax law. Next. And this gentleman, Sir Charles Trevelyan, the most popular governor of Madras, opposed income tax in India. Because of this, he was reprimanded and called back. I think we should give him some award, posthumous award or something. So, entire tax history before independence was biased, inequitable. If some system is biased, will you feel any sort of likeness towards that thing? Will you support? Will not. So entire psyche, Indian psyche was against taxation. Because it is related to war, related to colonialism, related to fundamental religious concepts, related to all those of suppression and repression. So tax is something alien. Why should I pay? So post-independent period, government has a tough role to redesign the tax system. Not only redesigning, the objective of taxation has to be redesigned. Next. Now comes the matter of money, the economics of taxation. Next. See, economics have one very good strategy. Everything they will put in graphs so that nobody will understand. Because things are so abstract, they think, oh, they are talking something something great. The basic, simple concept graph of economics, supply, demand, and deadweight laws, everything, where tax is pictured. Indian tax policy is revolving around economic concepts. There is a folly in that. I will come to that next. They say, as the tax rate goes up, tax revenue will come down. As tax rate comes down, revenue will go up. Indian tax policy is based on this type of concepts. But it never happened. Next. And economists think, I am not against economists, but I am saying economists think human beings are rational. What is rational person? Everything I will judge based on outcomes. Do you think morning onwards we analyze, we write down cost and benefit, then we act? We are not. They say, no, all human beings are rational, they will go by cost and benefit. So tax policies and all tax strategies should be rational, based on the concept of a rational man. Next. One of the very sensible person who have been recognized by the Western world. We do need the clear stream of reason. What Tagore the poet and the Chandrasekhar the physicist demanded, we need in economics too. That is the last seriously silly thought I inflict on you tonight. This he told when he was ending his Nobel speech. He was courageous to tell that. He was very, very courageous. To all the Western audience. Next. Next is most important. Taxation is a matter of power. Next. Very interesting quote. When a man spends his own money to buy something for himself, he is very careful about how much he spends and how he spends it. Correct? We are very careful when we spend our money. Next. When a man spends his own money to buy something for someone else, he is still very careful about how much he spends, but somewhat less what he spends it on, because it is for other person and going from my pocket. Next. When a man spends someone else's money to buy something for himself, someone else's money I am using, he is very careful about what he buys, but doesn't care how much he spends. Next. And when a man spends someone else's money on someone else, he doesn't care how much he spends or what he spends it on, and that is government for you. This is not my quote, this is by Milton Friedman, great developmental economist. Next. So, Jawaharlal Nehru and all those people, they wanted to bring in something called equity in taxation. So far, usually it is biased. Usually it is not egalitarian. So we want to bring equity. Horizontal equity and vertical equity. People at different levels should have different rates of tax. And everybody should pay according to their capacity. This was the philosophy in post-independent India. Next. And the second objective, first is equity. Second is welfare. This is not for your colonial masters. This is not to take it to some Western countries. This is for you. This is for the country. This is for the welfare of the poor. Next. Now there is a contract between citizen, government and society. Citizen pays the tax to government and government is indebted to society to pay it back. If there is a mismatch in this social contract, there is a social contract, not economic contract, unwritten contract by every citizen of the country. If government spends it on society, then society, if it comes back to citizen, then he will pay. It's a vicious circle. If there is a problem in this contract fulfillment, naturally there may be some problem. Next. I am not against Chidambaram. This is some cartoon I had to take. The political context of tax policy. Next. All of you know, very important. Click. Election manifestos. Parties have to have election manifestos. Parties have to promise something. I will give this benefit to this sector of population. I will give this loan waiver. I will give this, I will give that. I have to give promises so that I will get what? So that I can come to power and implement that. They don't want to displease them. It is economic necessity for them. And what they do when they come to power, they have promised so many things. We will waive loans, farmers' loans. Then from where the money will come? Whoever will not be aggrieved, whoever will not raise some problem, tax them. So I'm not criticizing the government, I'm saying the fact. This is the reality. We have to get money. Revenue has to come from somewhere. So some indirect taxes. When you go and buy a soap, you will not ask when you ask hammam soap, how much is the excise duty on it? We will not ask. 10 rupees you will pay and take the hammam soap. But when you ask income tax, that is from your pocket. Very painful. After you spend everything, balance my saved money, my interest in the bank, they want to cut TDS on that. Very painful. Next. Next. Click. Cash bank. Cash is very important for survival and sustenance of political parties. So Mahatma Gandhi is actually recognized well. Chota Mahatma Gandhi to big Mahatma Gandhi, 1,000 rupee note. Very important. Election expenditure raise. Who is going to give me election expenditure for this? Crores and crores of rupees have to spend for contesting this seat, this party to win to power. Money will come from where? We cannot print notes. It has to come from some good people. Yes. When the money comes, see, many countries actually this political donation is totally through check and through the government it comes. Still it has not come to our country. So money has to come from some groups. And that way the underground economy is strengthened. So they cannot pay by check. ABC Limited cannot pay by check to government, Congress Party or BJP. They have to have cash. So cash is being generated. Next is pressure groups, industry sectors, trade industry associations, media, institutes. Gokhale Institute also will say, no, this you have to do. Everybody has genuine grievances. They will say, no, this has to be done. Chamber of Commerce will go. Bangalore Chamber of Commerce will go. Karnataka Chamber of Commerce will go. Infosys, IT sector, Technopark, they will go. Government employees will go. They say, no, this is to be done. All the pressure groups will go just before the budget. Just before it is, not after tabling the budget. Before that, 3-4 months after the draft budget is prepared. Next is sociology of taxation. Next. Most important thing. What is my attitude towards tax payment? Next. What is my attitude about state and government? Is it a positive attitude? Am I happy with the government? About tax system, am I happy? Tax administration, am I happy? About the tax compliant society, am I happy? This influences my tax behavior. Next. If you see, we can see there are so many reasons for not paying taxes. Let us see one reason. Why should I pay if I don't get any benefit? As simple as that. Next. Why should I pay if what I pay is siphoned off? How much is coming back? Next. Why should I pay if what I pay is inefficiently applied? It is not going to the right project. Next. Why should I pay if it is such a hassle to follow the procedures? So complicated, even if I want to pay. Why should I pay if it is so difficult for me to understand the legal intricacies? People generally say, if the patient cannot, if the sleeping pill is not working on a patient, give him Income Tax Act. Open first page, he will sleep. And every year it is getting amended, complicated. So much of rebates, concessions, exemptions, everything so complicated. Why should I pay if it is so harassing to interact with the tax department? Next. Why should I pay if I am unduly audited and investigated upon? My case will be taken for scrutiny. They will ask my books of accounts. Next. Why should I pay if it is too costly for me to comply? So much of transaction costs, if it is there, why should I? Most important thing, why should I pay if the people around me doesn't pay? I know that fellow, he has sold the property for 1 crore. He has shown only 20 lakhs in the document. He has paid capital gain only on 20 lakhs. 80 lakhs he has concealed. This fellow, he doesn't give bills at all. No problem for him. Then why should I pay? If my non-payment does not make much difference to society and only gains for me. This is like the story of a king. He asked the people to put milk in a container, and nobody finally put the milk in the container, thinking that others will put. Next. So this is a cartoon which I put in my book also. You file, typical income tax officer is telling the person who's very rich is saying, you file, smile and go. The fellow who has only meager income saying, you file, smile and wait. This is one concept about department. But this is not actually happening. This is only just for the humor part we have put. Now come to some hard facts. All along we learned about philosophy and psychology and history and economics and sociology of taxation. Now what actually happening? Now Government of India has initiated a massive project to process returns. Thousands of returns are filed by the people. It's taking so much of time, to process the returns. Now Government of India has come with a new project called CPC, Centralized Processing Center. It is set up in Bengaluru, first time in India. Infosys will be digitizing the returns. And the refund will be issued by not Income Tax Department but by State Bank of India. It has already started. And income tax department now onwards will be focusing only on investigation and assessment. So far, so much of problems were there because department is fully busy with issuing the refund and processing, and there is no time at all to investigate the cases. So all these peripheral jobs have been outsourced. So all the refunds are with these people, SB, State Bank of India, and there is some call center given by State Bank of India. Anybody having any refund query, they have to telephone to SBI, the Income Tax Department. And anything related to processing of our returns, they have to contact the CPC Infosys call center. Now, regarding the CPC Infosys call center, we generally think private sector is very efficient. They will do very well. We have given this project to Infosys about 2 years back. About 250 crores have been given by Government of India. Even now, they are not yet completed the work. In the sense, they are not even understood how to correctly process a return. Now, always we look down upon government and government servants. When you go to government department and staff, see why government departments are functioning at least this way, because at least there are some people who are very sincere, committed and honest there. I always feel, because I used to interact with a lot of private sector people also, if you put the so-called private sector people also to take over income tax department for 5 years and ask them to run income tax department, entire department will be looted. I am not against private sector. What I am making a point to say that certain people choose government service to private sector, not all of them, because they are not greedy. It is not very easy to be very ambitious and make a lot of money in government. It is not that easy. I am not talking about the criminal elements. That criminal element, even if you put him to count the sand in the shore, there also he will make money. I am not talking about those people. That people are everywhere, it is there. Whether it is income tax department or any other department or private sector, wherever those who want to violate the rules, they will make money. Nothing to do with the government. So government department, certain sincere, certain committed people are there. I used to see my own staff, many people come on Saturdays and Sundays and work. Can you imagine in a government department, whether you work or not, you will get promotion. If you work, you will not get promotion. That is different. That is the thing, actually. There are so many people. But they have not been given right infrastructure, right facilities. They are in fact struggling. Most of the honest government servants are really struggling to meet both ends, meet in a city like Bengaluru, where expenses are so high. What I am saying, with all these temptations, if they are working well, we have to appreciate them. With all these limitations, lot of influences, with all these things. So when we gave this, there is a hue and cry. No, these are inefficient people, outsource. Okay, outsourced. PAN, first we outsourced PAN to UTA and UTA and some organizations. In fact, my friend Anil Kulkarni is a chartered accountant. He himself may vouch. Now the PAN takes more time in private sector also, more than this. In fact, Bombay, if you go, fellows have more than one PAN numbers, like cell phone numbers, people carry 2-3 cell phone numbers, so many PANs. For shares, I'll have this PAN. For salary, this PAN. For this PAN. So many different PANs. It is outsourced, no accountability. That comes to, see, everybody is crying for deregulation. Oh, these are all because of strict regulation. All over the world, they went for deregulation. After deregulation, what happened? Entire recession has come because of deregulation. Just because of deregulation. And because the US and UK doing, everybody imitated. Now, we thought, okay, outsource. This government cannot do anything, outsource to them. Infosys, one of the wonderful company, they had almost taken 2 years. They could not even complete proper processing so far. In fact, they will do it, but they will take time. So the point I am making, things in government is not that simple as people think. Income tax computerization is not like railway ticket computerization. No, it is very complicated. Different type of heads of income, different type of expenses, different exemptions, rebates, different status of the assessees. Every year it gets changes, tax rate changes. It is not a standalone software. It has to be a dynamic software. So they are trying to find the solution. Now CPC has taken over. Next. Oh, this is a typical cartoon. So whenever we do scrutiny, this is a very old cartoon. When the assessing officer, the income tax officer, calls the person to come with the books of accounts, so there will be a person near the gate of that of income tax office. He will be selling old shirt. Any taxpayer comes, he will comes in a Benz, get down, remove the blazer and tie, put that old shirt on rent, 10 rupees. Then he will come to the income tax officer. Sir, I am a very, very poor, simple fellow. I don't have any means of living. So this fellow, by afternoon he realized, same shirt, same stitch here. Fellow is coming. So when this was found out, that fellow says, okay, agreed that my makeover as a beggar has been fully exposed. But then what do you think of my irrepressible creativity, sir? So unless he is cashing in on that. Next. Now, people have an impression that department is out to scrutinize people. Those who are filing returns, scrutinize them. It is not correct. There is only random scrutiny. You think, okay, my neighborhood inspector Ramasamy has this thing against me. He might have sent a petition. Otherwise, how will I get this scrutiny notice? This never happens. Most of our scrutiny are random scrutiny picked by computer. Computer picks up scrutiny and sent. Second is through CAS. CAS is, so income tax department collect information from various agencies. When you sell a property, you are through sub-registrar. Sub-registrar has to inform it to our database. When you make a huge payment for some purchase, that we get the information. When you deposit in the bank account more than certain amount, bank has to inform us. All these things will be centrally collated and we will compare it with the PAN database and return database. If there is a mismatch, that also will come under scrutiny. Next is manual selection of cases by assessing officers only as per strict guidelines. Every year strict guidelines will be given. Based on that, they will scrutinize. This is the only way a case can be taken for scrutiny. Next. Then CIB information. We have a central information branch who collect database from various institutions, financial institutions, and that will be taken. FIU-IND information. FIU means Financial Intelligence Unit. This is a international phenomenon. Every country has it. In India, it is called FIU-IND. This FIU-IND will collect all the suspicious transactions from various agencies. For example, somebody is coming with some 50 lakhs rupees to you and say, see, in Canara Bank, I want to put this money, but no, I don't have an account in Canara Bank. Can you put for a day? Tomorrow I will draw it and take from your account. Don't do it. Because this type of transactions are called suspicious transaction. An amount this SB account was very dormant. Maximum amount was 1 lakh, 2 lakhs. Suddenly one day 50 lakhs comes, next day it goes out. Bank has to report to our Ministry of Finance. So if you have used your account for these purposes, you will be getting a notice. So 50 lakhs has come to your account. What is the source? So all these informations will come through FIU-IND to the Income Tax Department. Then scrutiny, survey, normal scrutiny, survey. Survey also, don't think that we are jumping for somebody, searching somebody and all. It never happens. Income tax rates happens maybe 6 to 8 months of investigation, confidential investigation. In cinema, movies we will see. Some telephone comes, immediately take the jeep and go and ransack the house. Never happens. Unless if there is a cash movement found out. in one Maruti Gypsy, 5 crores cash is being taken. We will immediately attack. Otherwise not, because all income tax department respects citizens. Have you seen any time income tax officer along with the person who searched the photograph in the newspaper? Or any time whether income tax officer sits before a press camera and shows the photograph of the big house? We used to see in the newspapers. Photographs are of the big people shown. Photograph of the houses and all. Income tax department has never shown. Our aim is not to tarnish the image of people. He has done some bad thing, catch him, make him pay the tax, impose penalty. And in case there is something wrong in our calculation, go in appeal. Many times what happens, see, you imagine in your own house some outsider comes and ransack one day. And you have kept somebody's this thing. Or you purchased a property some 25 years back in Baswangudi town itself. After 15 years, it has become 2 crores, 3 crores value. At that, you bought it for 2 lakhs. And investigating officer says, you are having 3 crores worth house in Baswangudi. What do you feel? Income tax department will never do that. We don't say, we'll say this is the document value, this is the market value here. That also not in the press, not in the media. We'll refer it for valuation and pass an assessment order. Next. So this is a cartoon. Income tax department is going for a search. So moment they are entering, people are saying, welcome, welcome, welcome. So this is just to give a humor touch to say that it's already leaked. But rarely, I don't know, because I was in the investigation wing also earlier. I have not come across any case where raid news was leaked before we stepped into the premises. Whereas many other departments, all of us know in public, that person will be raided by this particular branch. Is it not? This person, there may be a chance for raid in that place. Not income tax. Other departments, they will say, before raid, they will say, about 1 month back, they will say, we are going to catch that person. It never happens with income tax department. These are all I am saying because under my experience, anything which is happening beyond my experience, I don't know. May happen also. Next. Othello. Iago said to Othello in Shakespeare's drama, good name in man and woman, dear my lord, is the immediate jewel of their souls. Who steals my purse steals trash. It is something nothing. It was mine, it is his, and has been slave to thousands. But he that filches from me my good name, robs me of that which not enriches him, and makes me poor indeed. For a person, his reputation is most important. Next. So search is done in very rare cases. All connected residential business premises, everything will be covered. If there is a raid, means it is not in that house. All his close associates, branches, everything will be covered. Otherwise, it will not be successful. Documents and valuables can be seized. There are some rights of the person searched. Every taxpayer should know what is my right when somebody is coming to attack me in my house on a search. There are certain rights, codified rights. They have to show to you and they have to get your signature. Then duties of person searched. There are some duties also. And there are well laid out procedures. No officer can overstep that. They have to have 2 independent witnesses from the time they enter till they leave. 2 respectable persons around that area should be with them. They have to see what we are opening, what we are counting, what we are writing. Witnesses should be there. They have to sign till the end. Next. So, if so many searches happening, still, how many searches we can do in a year? Very few searches. So, once in 10 years, something like that, this will come. What is this? I confess my fault, my grievous fault. Fellows will go and say, voluntary disclosure of income scheme, VDIS scheme. So, many fellows are waiting for this. Why should I voluntarily pay tax? If the search comes at that time, we will see search is very rare. So once in 10 years, something like that will come. Then I will disclose everything. So there are many smart people like that also. Next. So several countries had amnesty schemes like that. Last amnesty scheme in India was in 1997. At that time, I was Assistant Commissioner in Ooty. 31st of December was the last date. So it is very cold in Ooty also. So we were supposed to be in the office till 12 midnight. That was the information from Delhi. You should be there. So we were also sitting there till midnight. So 11:55, 12 people were rushing. Ooty, it's a tourist place. But there are a lot of people who have money. Hotel peoples and jewelers, pawnbrokers and all, a lot of people. 12 o'clock were rushing to declare things. So rupees 30,000 crore was disclosed, about 10,000 crore tax collected. So now the question is tax amnesty scheme good for the country? Do such schemes result in demotivating honest taxpayers? This is a question we have to discuss and debate. Next. So these are some of the points which I have studied and wrote in my book. What I did in my study was, I went after people who were raided by Income Tax Department 10 to 15 years back, and went back to them and found out what is the sociological consequences after the raid, psychological consequences and economic consequences. That was my study, and through them I was finding why they evaded taxes and how they evaded taxes and how was the post-search experience. Next. All these things I was studying in that. So this was the book release ceremony where Governor and former Chief Election Commissioner released my book. Next. This was a website, makingpeoplepay.blogspot.com, was released by Madam Mrs. Lady Governor. Now, the Income Tax Act next is changing now. You know that there's something called Direct Tax Code is coming. The discussion paper and revised discussion paper has been laid before the public now for discussion. These are the reasons for that. To make it more simplified, make it more transparent. That was the aim of the Direct Tax Code. Next. These are the reasons for the Direct Tax Code, why the lot of amendments which are coming. These are the reasons for amendment. We cannot blame the government of India for making amendments. In a dynamic economy, laws have to change. So every year we keep changing the laws and rules. It has to be there. If you see the reduction of tax rate, 73-74, it was 85%. 1980, 62, 50, 40, now it is 30%. One of the best tax rates all over the world. Global average is 29%. We are 30%, we are good. Next. It has come down drastically year after year. Next. See the direct tax collection, tax GDP ratio from 2.68 has gone to 6.23. And 2009-10 estimate is 3,75,000 crore. Very good income. Next. But if you see the number of assessees, 1.16 crores in 96-97, now it is only 3.26 crores effective assessees. Why these effective assessees? As I told, there are about 7% of people in the country have PAN. So somebody told the PAN should be there for opening a fixed deposit or share, so I should take PAN. Out of the 7% people, maybe about 3% people will file returns. Don't think that all of them are taxpayers. Out of these 1.5% people will take out that refund. Actual taxpayer will be 1.5% out of 100 people. Next. See the population of India. It is, yesterday I read, it is 119 crore. 119 crore, not 115. Increasing drastically. But, next. I was just comparing population and taxpayers. Only 2.73% of the population taxpayers. 2.73%. If we can increase this number of taxpayers from 2.73 to 5%, if not 10%, we can reduce our tax rate from 30% to 10%. People say India can become a superpower in 2020 or 2050. India can really become a global power if you touch on this tax part, not that going and taxing everybody, I'm not telling about that. Expand. Let everybody pay a little bit of tax. Nearby juice parlor, nearby panwala, how much cash he is earning every day. So much of charitable, within courts, charitable institutions, education institutions, how much money they are minting. If we can slowly expand our tax base a little bit and everybody pay a little bit of tax, easily we can really achieve very good revenue for the country and we can beat any country, whatever country. Population is an asset. Population is not a liability. We have all policies saying that population is a liability. Next. Now people say a lot of money is spent for income tax department or collection. 1.49 rupees was for every 100 rupees cost for collection earlier in 2001-2. Now it is only 66 paise. For collecting 100 rupees tax, government spends only 66 paise. Next. And if you see the income tax department manpower, number of taxpayers has gone up like this. But manpower income tax department is no change. Not very, very marginal change. If you go to an income tax office and see an ITO, 25,000 files, we cannot see the face of the ITO. Now of course, slowly e-filing is coming. 25,000 files, half stenographer, half inspector, half tax assistant. How will we be able to do all this work? So when you telephone to an ITO, if he is little rude, you understand he is in tremendous pressure. Audit objection, this thing, that thing. Because manpower is not increased. Why manpower is not increased? Is it necessary to have a manpower for income tax department? Electricity department, we should have manpower. Water department, we should have manpower. Bank, we should have manpower. Income tax, why should we have manpower? More manpower and more vehicles if you give to them, they will go and investigate. No vehicle is not there. If they want to go for a survey and inquiry, vehicle itself they have to find out where is a jeep. If you strengthen the infrastructure of income tax department with manpower, with vehicles, that is the way we can expand our tax base. Areas where it is untouched areas. Next. Cost of collections of different countries, if you see, much above. We have 66 paise. Now it is 66 paise. This is old this thing. Other countries, if you see, much above India. Their expenditure. Next. This is a study by ORG and Transparency International. It's an international research body of corruption in government departments. They said power department has a maximum corruption. Then police, then judiciary, then land administration, judiciary, see. Then land administration, telecom, health, education, ration, railway, taxation is the lowest. I'm not saying corruption is not in taxation. Everywhere it is also there. But extent of this. Next. Now only about 1% of returns are scrutinized, 0.003% of cases are surveyed, only 4,000 searches, group searches in the country. Next. One more. So consistent growth in income tax collections last year. Next. Tax rates are not increased, liberal exemption reductions. The aim is to provide assessee-friendly tax administration. That is the aim now. But there are some problems. Lot of thing to be done for taxpayer service. Refunds are still getting delayed. Complexity in tax laws and procedures, and more transparency required. And any doubt regarding income tax, this is the number. We have a PRO office in Bangalore. This is the number. There is an email also. You can write by mail also. itprbangalore.readifmail.com. Income tax officers, if you go, they will not respond because they are so busy. This PRO office, they have some 3-4 good inspectors. They will be able to guide you anytime. Then there is one, our income tax website, incometaxindia.gov.in. Everything about income tax laws are available. Apply for PAN, this is the website, utasl.co.in. Processing queries, this is the number, call center number. And refund queries, that is the number. These are the important numbers. Next. There is one tax poem. This I will skip it. This contains everything to be taxed. Tax his hand, tax his bed, tax the table at which he is fed. Tax his work, tax his pay, he works for peanuts anyway. Tax his tobacco, tax his drink, tax him if he tries to think. So every phase of activity is tax his cigars, tax his beer. If he cries, tax his tears. So this is an anonymous poem. Tax his car, tax his gas, find other ways to tax his ass. So goes like that. So tax is something which we cannot escape. Next. Only one thing is they say tax, or only our smile is tax free. Next. So this is a better smile. You are not very amused. Next. So thank you. Smile in a taxing world. Thank you.
Sir, I have one question.
Yes.
India is predominantly an agricultural country. Why the tax structure is silent in agricultural sector?
Very, very important question. We learned about politics or taxation. Agricultural income is taxed only for the purpose of rate. There are several research studies which say you have to tax agricultural income. But our policy makers, so far, there is no courage to tax agriculture sector. Now when you talk about agriculture, only very few people who are very, very large landowners. Otherwise, 80% of India's agriculturists are small and marginal farmers. So naturally, people, the moment this come, lot of harassment will happen against marginal farmers. That may be one valid reason they give. But still there is a scope for taxing. At least 5% you can put. I think public opinion should come for that. Any other question?
Regarding outsourcing, I agree with you that the private sector is taking some time to stabilize this system.
Yes.
Because, as they say, garbage in is garbage out. But my main thing is, in case a mistake is done by the CBC, they should apologize or they should send the regret letter. That is not happening. Which I expect the tax department to tell those people if they commit mistakes. Because as you rightly say,
Yes.
it is a very complicated system which they are yet to stabilize. When they commit a mistake, because they say some letter will be issued within such a date you have to pay the tax because of the wrong calculation. And they accept and they say, yes sir, our system has failed. But they should communicate to the taxpayer. That is lacking.
Most irritating thing these days in cell phone. What is the most irritating thing in cell phone these days? Marketing calls. Are you Mr. Mathew? Yes. Then they'll talk about insurance scheme, this scheme, that scheme. You feel really. And if you have some genuine grievances to bank or something, when you call, you'll be so unhappy with the non-personalized, impersonal behavior of that party. Same thing happened here also. They started processing. So much of mistakes happened in the individual level. See, first time you are filling e-filing return, or instead of writing the column in gross total income, they write net total income. Instead of writing PAN number, you write TAN number. So much of mistake by the taxpayers. Then when they go to bank for paying the tax, they have to fill up a challan. Challan, there is a mistake. Finally, this challan is ended by bank clerk. Mistake again. But when you file a return, my income is 1 lakh, my tax is 5,000. This 5,000 has been already cut in TDS. When the return is processed, what they see in CPC, this 5,000 tax is cut by State Bank of India. State Bank of India's income TDS return they will see. Then if they see that 5,000 is not figuring there, for this 5,000 the PAN number is mistake, they will say no, your 5,000 has not come to government kitty, you have to pay. That is why so many people are getting notices. Our own Chief Commissioner also got a notice. This is, so we have to be optimistic. When a system, as you said, rightly said, when system is starting for the first time, first 2-3 years, this type of things will come. But as you said, department should have to impress upon CPC to be little more generous when dealing with this type of situations and try to rectify it. That is I admit that lot of difficulties are there for the taxpayers. I used to tell my own bosses whenever there is a meeting, I am a small fellow in department. Our department is a big department. So many commissioners, so many additional commissioners. I am only one additional commissioner. When there is a meeting, sometimes I used to flare up. When evening I used to regret, why should I be so emotional? I should mellow down. Actually, I used to think I should mellow down. But sometimes we will openly talk. Last days from Delhi, some people had come. They said business process re-engineering for department. This thing. And I said, if you go with this to the taxpayers, they will beat you. What I am saying, our taxpayers are so good. Things are going okay. They also understand the difficulty of the department. So these 2-3 years, as you said, there may be some difficulties from both sides, department also and taxpayers also. Hopefully, after 2-3 years, things will stabilize. Infosys might do a good job. Any other doubt, clarifications? Thank you so much. Please.
Religious organizations, are they exempted from tax?
See, if they are, there are certain provisions like Section 11, Section 1023C, where if you register to income tax department and your accounts are audited and it is used for religious and charitable purpose, whatever you collect, out of that entire amount has been utilized or balance is put into some account, then it is treated as exempt. So they have to follow certain rules. Because of that, so many of our education institutions and religious institutions, they claim exemption. You know very well that the fellows who are promoting that, they are enjoying. Not all. Again I am saying, some are doing real charitable work. What government cannot do, they are doing it. But some are exploiting that. That's. Thank you so much for the very, very patient hearing. Thank you. And I have some brochures I just picked up from the PRO office. This is income tax rate card and the basic tax card, this thing, everything, exemptions, rebates, everything is there in this. Only few copies are there that you can pick up, and something about PAN, that is also there. You can leave it there. Only very few copies are there.
ನಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ನಾಳೆಯಿಂದ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭವಾಗಿ 5 ದಿವಸ ಶತಾವಧಾನಿ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ರಾ ಗಣೇಶ್ ಅವರಿಂದ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸಮಾಲೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಕಾಳಿದಾಸನ ರಘುವಂಶದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. We have all enjoyed the presentation by Dr. Mathew. He has disabused us of many wrong impressions and has clarified many points. After all, common people are under certain impressions. After all, not all are trained and not all people have access to the realities. Dr. Mathew has informed us of the ground realities of taxation. Of course, everywhere in the world, taxation is often a butt of jokes, saying, for instance, in the US it is said the Internal Revenue Manual runs to maybe 10 volumes of 1000 pages each, whereas the 10 Commandments is less than 1 page. After all, tax laws are complicated because life itself has become complicated. It is as simple as that. Life has become more and more complex, Naturally, tax laws have become more and more complex. So, it will be some time before somewhere things stabilize. But the basics were stated long back by our Smritis, which said the king should collect taxes as a bee collects honey from the flowers. The bee collects honey from the flowers without harming the flower. That is how tax should be collected. That's the ideal. And then, but we need not lose hope, because already after the recent innovations like VAT and so on, I have heard many industrialist friends and others say that this system is very good for the country. I mean, they are taxpayers, and I have heard many responsible people tell me that this VAT and other systems are good for the country. And we are very happy because procedures are greatly simplified after the introduction of these systems. So, things are certainly on the way to improvement. And after all, as he gave a comparative picture, income tax department is not inquisitorial like other departments. So we are extremely grateful to Dr. Mathew for a most lucid talk. We hope we shall have other opportunities of listening to him.